Welcome to episode 17 of Driver Soup Blog Radio. I am your host, David G. Firestone, and today we're just going to do some news and notes and talk about a controversy I've been wanting to talk about for a little while. Now, first off, on the news and notes, I don't know whose idea it was to come up with the front stretch interview after the race. This is in NASCAR, but I really hope they die of a stroke during their child's wedding. Fans are sick of it, and I can't really disagree with it. I mean, this started a few years ago, and it's worn out its welcome. It's pointless, and it also takes away from Victory Lane, which was one of the only reasons I would watch the after show after a race. Now Victory Lane has been completely relegated to social media. I'm sick of it, I'm done with it, and most of the fans agree. Now we're going to move on to NASCAR windshields. With the temperatures in the lower 80s, the sun's glare causes the Lexan windshields to expand enough that it can impact if a car passes inspection. Now, teams used to have covers or would even put ice on the windshields to keep them cool before these were all outlawed by NASCAR. Can I ask an honest question? Wouldn't NASCAR be able to anticipate this and maybe make adjustments? I mean, this is not like a one or two team issue. This is literally every team in NASCAR having this problem. I don't understand why there wouldn't be an allowance for this, especially because you're going to be doing a lot of races in the summer. Heat's going to be an issue, and physics ain't going to change just to meet your inspection processes. Now, according to Bob Pockrass, he tweeted that, quote, "Most cars failed their inspection first time through. Some shatters that the heat is impacting the body of the car, so teams are starting to use umbrellas to help add shade while they go through tech. If they fail a second time, they drop to the rear at the start and also lose a crew member." Pockrass later tweeted out, "Crew chiefs are telling me that the sun impacts the body of a car from 8 to 1,000ths to 200 1,000ths of an inch." Again, wouldn't there be a certain amount of allowance by NASCAR for this heat? I mean, come on, it's not. This is physics. This is not teams trying to cheat. This is heat makes stuff expand, so adjust accordingly. Now, this next story broke literally the day after I recorded the podcast for last week. I kind of thought it would, but let's go back to Bristol Motor Speedway and how the fans, the media, and even some of the teams and drivers are turning against dirt racing. Well, Bristol announced on Tuesday of last week that they were going to be redoing the dirt race for 2023, with Bristol Motor Speedway and President Jerry Cudwell stating, quote, "I'm so thankful for our owners, Burton and Marcus Smith, for allowing our Bristol Motor Speedway team to put on an amazing Easter celebration and NASCAR race that exceeded our expectations with strong ticket sales and primetime viewership on Fox. Like there's anything else on Easter Sunday people are going to want to watch." Bristol Motor Speedway will prepare for a spring night race on dirt in 2023, giving the fans two great NASCAR shows on different services. The dates for our NASCAR events will not be available until later this year. To guarantee the best seats for more amazing dirt racing next year, guests may contact the ticket offices or our website to renew their tickets today. And I should point out that over 4 million viewers did tune in on Easter Sunday. Again, you're really not facing much competition. But this is another case of people on Twitter, news media, drivers, all saying that this is a stupid idea, and the people in charge of it doubling down on the stupid idea. I mean, come on. I gave it a chance. It hasn't impressed me. So you know what? I'm done. Sorry. Now we get to talk about something else that was related to a discussion I had early this year about Peacock and their total lack of profitability. I mean, you lose $2.33 billion in 2020 and 2021. Why would you even think of, A, why would you think of coming back for 2022? And B, they doubled it to $3 billion. the budget, and they said they're going to lose about 83% of it. I don't get that logic at all, but Peacock really needs to learn from CNN Plus. I mean, CNN Plus launched to mixed reviews and low subscriber numbers. According to some sources, CNN was expected to have 2 million subscribers in its first year and 15 to 18 million after 4 years. Yeah, and this podcast will have 30 million by the end of the year. Original estimates were that $1 billion would be invested in CNN Plus over its first 4 years, but after a slow start, reports came out that hundreds of millions of dollars were expected to be cut from that investment. Okay, that right there. They weren't getting good numbers, so instead of investing more money hoping that it would improve, they said, okay, we're going to cut from the budget since it's really not selling as well. 2 weeks after its launch, 14 days after its launch, reports stated that fewer than 10,000 people sorry, that's just, there are bad numbers and then there are disastrous numbers. But reports stated that fewer than 10,000 people were using CNN Plus on a daily basis. Much of the original CNN programming on HBO Max had been removed in advance of the CNN Plus launch. Boy, did that work out well. Then it was announced that CNN Plus would cease operations tomorrow, April 30th. Let me say this. CNN didn't lose nearly the amount of money Peacock already has, and Warner, their parent company, knew exactly when to pull the plug. I have to say this again. Peacock has lost $2.33 billion in 2 years, and yet executives seem hell-bent on making this work, even though all signs are pointing to failure. If Comcast pulls the plug, it'll be a smart move, but I don't see this working out for Comcast in the future at all. You have nothing of any value to put on your... No, I can't even say that. You have a lot of stuff that people would want to see on that platform, but you don't put it on there. I already read some of the quote-unquote exclusive original content, and it's not worth watching. So, again, if Comcast has any brains in their skull, they'll pull the plug on Peacock, but I know they're not going to, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting that, for some reason, things will be different this time. Okay, we're going to get to a bit of a controversy in the NFL. I know it's going off topic, but I've been wanting to discuss this for a while next. So let's just take a quick break. So we're back. Now, I'm not an NFL superfan, but I do enjoy watching the games. I'll watch it if there's no other racing on or anything else. But I've noticed that there are some racial issues going on in sports that need to be addressed that simply aren't. And I think that there's no better example of this than former Miami Dolphins coach Brian Flores filed a lawsuit alleging racial discrimination throughout the league. As a part of that lawsuit, Flores alleged that Dolphins owner Stephen Ross pushed him to lose games on purpose in 2019 and even offering him $100,000 a game to do so. Now, the idea of purposely losing games to get better draft picks, I know it's illegal, I know it's immoral, but I can absolutely understand that mindset. You're not making the playoffs, you're not having a good season, so why not tank a game, and see if you can get a better draft slot. I get that logic, even though it's against the rules. Now, shortly after these allegations went public, Hugh Jackson, former coach of the Cleveland Browns, said that he was incentivized to lose with the Browns, who he coached from 2016 to 2018. Now, to understand why I have no reason to believe any of this claim is as follows. In his first 2 seasons with the Browns, he went 1-31. In 2016, he went 1-15, and in 2016, he went 0-16. So then in 2017, he won 2 games, lost 5, and suffered 1 tie. This was in 2018, and he was fired. Now, the rumor is that the young quarterback that they drafted, who actually showed promise and helped turn the team around, went to the owners and was like, why is he here? He's not a good coach. He can't get us to win. Get rid of him. And they did, and it was a smart move. Now, for those of you paying attention, this is his head coaching record with the Browns. 2016, 1 win, 15 losses, win percentage of .063. Excuse me, 6.3%. I jotted my notes down wrong. In 2017, 0 wins, 16 losses, 0 ties, win percentage 0. In 2018, he won 2 games, lost 5, and had a tie, so his win percentage is 31%. Why would you keep him on after he lost 2 games? Excuse me. Why would you keep him on after the 2017 season? He went 1-15 in 2016 and 0-16 in 2017. Why give him another chance? You've had teams that have had either one win or no win season, and the entire coaching staff gets fired. The GM gets fired. That's what you're supposed to do. You see something's clearly not working, so you get rid of it and try to find something that does. No, they kept him on, and then only then did they realize, okay, this is not bad, but this is not good, so why are we doing this? Now, he claims that he was offered money to tank, which I genuinely don't believe. But another claim by Jackson is that there was a quote-unquote 4-year plan that incentivized him losing in the first 2 seasons, and that bonus money was available if, quote, certain goals were hit. Another claim was that he also wasn't offered money, unlike Flores, but he was alleged that the situations were similar. Now, when asked why he waited a total of 4 years until 2022 to bring this up to the public's attention, he said, quote, well, 2 years ago, I tried to do this the right way through the bylaws and constitution of the NFL Football League to investigate the Cleveland Browns for all the allegations that I've made. So, this is where his case starts to fall apart, because it's becoming abundantly clear that there's no evidence whatsoever to back this up. It's also important to note that after these claims were made, he retracted them a short time later. Still, this led the NFL to open an investigation, which the Browns released a statement that said, quote, even though Hugh recanted his allegations a short time after they were made, it is important to us and to the integrity of the game to have an independent review of the allegations, the Browns said via Sports Illustrated. We welcome an investigation and are confident the results will show, as we previously stated, these allegations are categorically false. So there's going to be an investigation. I have a feeling that the Browns are going to come out on top, because I have no reason to believe any of his allegations, because there doesn't seem to be a shred of evidence to back this up. And the fact that he recanted, well, there you go. But I was thinking about this, and this reminded me of the Murray Hodgson allegations against WWE in 1992. Aside from steroids in 92, the WWE had a major problem on their hands, and its name was Terry Garvin. Terry Garvin was a wrestler who was wrestling in various territories, and in 1985, due to his friendship with Pat Patterson, he got a job in WWE. In 92, Barry Orton, uncle of Randy Orton, would claim that Garvin was sexually harassing him, and that Garvin would ask for oral favors on many occasions during a car ride. Now, Garvin was also well known for using his influence to have sex with the younger ring boys. Now, ring boys, for those of you who don't know, one of the ways WWE would get cheap or even free labor was they would have, teenagers, they'd hire them to set up the ring, and as part of their payoff, they would say, okay, you can hang around and watch the matches. All right, cool. A few hours work and I get to watch wrestling for free. Sounds like a good deal. Now, one particular ring boy, a guy by the name of Tom Cole, would lose his job after refusing Garvin's advances. Now, this whole controversy would then come to light afterwards, and Orton would be asked on a radio show if the rumors about Cole's firing were true, and he said yes. Then he told the story of the infamous car ride. So, Orton, Cole, and ring announcer Murray Hodgson will go on to file a lawsuit. We'll discuss Hodgson in a little bit. I want to get the facts of the case out first. As with many lawsuits against WWE, it would be settled later on. Now, Orton would be fired from WWE because Vince McMahon thought he was the cause of this whole fiasco. So Garvin and Patterson resigned after the scandal broke, though Patterson would return a short time later. Because really, WWE felt he was innocent, and the evidence to support this is kind of overwhelming. The feeling that he was targeted because he was openly gay was still a big deal at the time because people were just starting to come out. Not as much as they are today, but 92 was a much different time. So the accusations went nowhere for WWE. But then we have to get to Murray Hodgson, because Murray and Hugh Jackson are similar in a lot of ways when it comes to these accusations. Now, in the early 1990s, Vince McMahon and the WWE had a nationwide search for a new announcer for their television programming. Now, this was done in conjunction with Billboard magazine, which I don't even know if it's still a thing or not, and I'm not even going to bother looking them up. So Murray Hodgson was a radio DJ from Detroit, and he won the whole kit and caboodle. He would sign a 2-year deal with WWE, but was fired a few weeks into his tenure because Vince McMahon felt he wasn't that good on television. And if you watch some of his if you can find some of his video and watch him, he's not very good. He really isn't. So 6 months later, Hodgson filed a sexual harassment lawsuit against Vince McMahon and the WWE. He cited that WWE employee Pat Patterson made sexual advances to Hodgson, and when he refused, he was fired. So this led to a confrontation between Hodgson and Vince McMahon on the Phil Donahue show. During his appearance on the talk show, Hodgson accused McMahon and Patterson and others in the company of knowing about these issues and attempting to sweep them under the rug. Here's the thing. Patterson was cleared of everything because there was no evidence whatsoever, physical, circumstantial, or anything to convict him. What had happened was Hodgson heard about the Pat Patterson scandal and quickly figured out that he could get a nice payday in his future by filing a lawsuit against WWE. This, however, catastrophically backfires when Hodgson's own lawyer quickly dropped him as a client because McMahon's lawyers and private investigators discovered that this wasn't Hodgson's first sexual harassment lawsuit. It later emerged that he had made a career out of it because he would sue ex-employers for the exact same allegations. It is also, from one source that I heard, there were allegations made where he would have relations with closeted gay men and then, what's the word I'm looking for here? threatened to expose them if they didn't pay him up. So the judge in this case quickly figured out what was going on, dismissed his lawsuit, and then allegedly called Hodgson a habitual liar and con man. Murray Hodgson would soon all but disappear from the spotlight. It's believed that he works as a nightclub owner in Michigan. And the reason I bring this up is because that's exactly what I thought Hugh Jackson was trying to do. There appears to be some actual footing behind the Flores lawsuit, but there's nothing about Jackson's lawsuit. I mean, he made up an allegation against the Browns after Flores sued the league, and as soon as he realized that this could catastrophically backfire, he recanted his allegations. And even if this was a possibility, which I don't believe and I have no reason to believe, but think about this. When I said that I understood the logic of possibly tanking, let's say you're, 6-8 going to the last 2 games of the season, and there's a couple of good draft picks you might want to be able to get, I could understand maybe losing the last 2 games of the season. When you go 1-31 in 2 years, that's not tanking. You just suck. Okay? We've all had to work with guys in various jobs that just don't know what they're doing. So, yeah, he got caught. He got caught trying to make up an allegation. He's about to get what's coming to him. And I don't feel bad. He dug his own grave. Now he's got to lie in it. Okay, so I'm not going to do any more controversial stuff for all. I really just wanted to discuss this. So I don't know what we're going to do for next week. I'm debating a few things. And I've been having technical issues with both the Driver Suit blog and other things, so I'm hoping to get those fixed soon. Anyway, I'm Dave Firestone. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you with episode 18 next week.